Hi everyone, I'm Daniel, and I'm here at BusterCon. It's been fun so far. We've been playing a bunch of Arkham Horror, the card game, multiplayer, massively multiplayer games, epic multiplayer actually. And yesterday we did Labyrinths of Lunacy, and then in the evening we did the Blob that ate everything. That was really fun. It was a really good time that we all had. Game Center is a pretty cool place. It's right here at where Asmodee and FFG is, right back over this way. Um, if you ever get a chance to come out to a big gaming convention, do it. It's really interesting, and you don't get to play some of these kinds of games all the time. And I'll talk a little bit about Ironman, which is happening a little bit later here on the video.
All right, enough of that. Let's talk about the main event, which is Ironman. If you don't know what Ironman is, it is a crazy, crazy day that we're going to do a whole day of playing a single campaign. That is 12 hours. We are going to start at 10 a.m. sharp on Saturday morning, and we're going to finish, hopefully, by 10 p.m. when the Game Center closes on Saturday, playing 8 whole scenarios, 4-player games, and that means about an hour and a half for every scenario, which is a little bit tight. So let's talk about the team that is playing with me. I am playing Zoe. Zoe is not known for being good in Innsmouth because of the on-engage effects that we'll talk about a little bit later. But you know what? It's going to be fun. Oh, you'll notice my voice is quite a bit hoarse because I have been playing Arkham Horror all day for the past 2 days, and that's just what happens. So guess what? A whole another day of talking is going to be a lot of fun. Anyway, we have a Down the Rabbit Hole deck, which is also not very good in Innsmouth because of the limited number of times that you get to spend your XP. Not too terrible, though. It's also just good for remembering what I am going to upgrade into. It's just these things. And this is kind of a Thorns build, so lots of things like Guard Dog, and I'm going to upgrade Hunter's Armor to do the, I think it's Armor of Thorns also, and then Zoe's Cross. So lots of on-engage effects from the enemies and some on-engage effects from Zoe. Should be fun. I'm a little concerned about only a couple weapons here, but I just couldn't say no to having a nice bunch of allies here. We'll get some charisma right away. I know it'll cost 4 XP, but you know, that's okay. And if I ever get a bunch of XP at once, which hopefully will happen after scenario number 4, we will go ahead and stick to the plan and put this Ever Vigilant, the Taunt, and On the Hunt, which might get upgraded to On the Hunt level 3. So that is Zoe. Main fighter, no clues in this build at all. You'll notice that we did draw our weaknesses already, and I talked a lot about Overzealous. I said, it's not that bad. Overzealous is fine. If you've watched any of my videos on the channel of gameplay, I seem to draw this one a lot, or maybe just once, I can't remember. It's fine. We'll be fine. Okay, that's Zoe. I have 3 other decks that I did not build, but my teammates did, to share with you to make a little bit of sense of this entire campaign. It is a blue and yellow team. So for another blue investigator, we have Carolyn Fern to get clues and heal horror. Right now, this is a... you'll notice everyone has in the thick of it, which makes sense for having Carolyn Fern and another investigator on the team. Pretty good, balanced Guardian, Mystic, and Seeker deck here. Empirical Hypothesis, unsurprisingly, has the deal damage and horror criteria as part of it. Hallowed Mirror, we have some Ancient Stones, which are going to get upgraded into, you guessed it, Ancient Stones with Healing Horror. Also, Field Agents are coming into play. So this should be a pretty good deck with a little bit of encounter deck protection with Ward, and 2 copies of Dynamite Blast. That'll be fun. You'll notice also 2 open gates, which I think, is this the next one? Yeah, the next one here is going to be a Clue Drop, Clue Vacuuming, Daisy Walker to help do a lot of fun things in this campaign, and 2 more open gates, as you can see. So this is going to be the main Clover, and archaic glyphs with the guiding stones, I believe is the upgrade, is the way to go, as well as just dropping those clues for things like quick study and forewarned analysis, Dr. Maelson level 2, and get them all back real quickly. Old Book of Lore notably will help the whole team find some cards. This is a pretty just good deck. Just there's not much to say about anything tricky here. Anything in the upgrades to note? Oh yeah, press pass. No, pretty simple. But you know, when you're going to play a whole campaign in one day, you want to do simple. Last deck, Vincent Lee. So indeed, I talked about Carolyn Fern to heal the horror. Vincent Lee is here to heal the damage, also to do some fighting and a little bit of investigating too. So we'll see how that goes. I'm, gonna want to sit around Vincent with these bandages for my guard dog, which we'll get to level 2 for sure too, and the B cop, which will also get to level 2. Yeah, all kinds of good things in this deck too. Lots of skills, and another copy of Hollowed Mirror, which by the way is not unique. Not unique. And yeah, this is a good deck. Stupor, I think, is going to be fine. I'm trying to remember what the other 2 weaknesses were for the other guys. I think it was 13th Vision and maybe Through the Gates. I can't remember who has what, but that's part of the fun in BusterCon. Right before we do the campaign, we all get to draw a weakness from a big stack of all the weaknesses in the game, and if you are a coward, you have to shout to the whole room that you are a coward, that you want to redraw your weakness. We did not. We chose to accept our fate. All right, that's it for the decks. Then I'll talk about the campaign in a little bit.
Okay, I'm just getting some things all sorted out, sleeving some cards, and I wanted to show you some of the BusterCon swag. Got some stickers, lots of stickers. This one over here is, this sheet here is from the guy who does Arkham Cards, the app. Really cool stickers. We have a couple of custom Ancient Evils cards. Those are real encounter cards with encounter card backs, as you can see. And then a player board, especially for BusterCon. And I got some of my own cards, all getting ready to get sleeved up. I got a second board over there, and some more stickers, and this very cool lead investigator token. Really excited about using all this stuff when I play. And that's my chaos bag and a bunch more stickers. All right. Okay, I would like to talk about the campaign itself now. And I normally would just go do this in Tabletop Simulator. In fact, I tried to do this, but I'm recording on my laptop, and the computer said, no, you really don't want to have Tabletop Simulator and record for like 20 minutes. So we're going to try this again, but just using a website. And this is Dare BK's website, which is called Ancient Evils. Really cool website that gives you a lot of information about all of the scenarios in the game, especially the encounter decks and what's in them. So I'm just going to talk through some of these scenarios, and I wish I could show you the cards a little better and the locations, but we're just going to go with this. Okay, so the Pit of Despair is the first scenario, and it is a tough scenario for an opener because there's very little room for error. You have to, one of the cards on the agendas, I think it is, or the act, says that you have to be entering unflooded or partially flooded locations. Oh, by the way, if you've not played the Innsmouth Conspiracy, I'm talking about lots of spoilers here, so don't watch the rest of this. Okay, here's kind of what my thoughts are on each of the scenarios. So for the Pit of Despair, like I said, you have to move around a lot. You have to get to locations that are unflooded or can't be fully flooded. And with 4 players, it's going to be kind of tough. In this scenario, as you can see, there's a lot of enemies. There's a lot of some tough encounter cards, which we can take a look at real quick here. So the major encounter set of this one and many other ones in Innsmouth Conspiracy is the Creatures of the Deep with the Deep one. So we've got the Lurking Deep one. This one has an on-engage effect of taking 1 damage. I think there's 3 of these. They're pretty easy to get, but you're always taking a damage, which is annoying. We have the Deep one Bull, who is going to come after you if you kill any other Deep one. So that's something to keep in mind. And he's big, 4 fight, 5 HP.
He does 2 damage, and if he does engage you, you have to choose and discard 1 card from your hand. That's not great, right? We're going to go ahead and look at the other set, I think, before I show you the last card that with deep ones, and that is from the core set. That's Agents of Cthulhu, which is funny because there is no Cthulhu in this particular campaign. Anyway, this one, you take a horror for getting engaged. A little easier to kill this guy, but than the deep one bull, but harder than the lurking deep one. But essentially, you have a bunch of these cards all sitting around you at once, and you need to kill them before someone draws. Let's go back to it. This one here at the bottom, Deep One Assault, which you disengage from all the Deep One enemies at your location, and then anything at your location or connecting location comes and engages you, and you get all of those on engage effects again. So Zoe needs to have enough soak to deal with this, or anyone else. Like, honestly, in 4-player, this is scary, right? You can draw 3 enemies during the Mythos phase, and then the 4th person draws this, and they all go to that person. That's kind of bad, right? There's 2 of these in the deck. So good candidate for canceling. All right, what else from the Pit of Despair should we talk about? Oh, the Shattered Memories. Shattered Memories are kind of iconic. Let's look at them. These are the ones where you test something, and if you reveal one of these tokens, of which there are 2 of each of them beginning, then you automatically fail. But if you fail anyway, you take 2 horror for this one. Not so terrible. 2 damage. This one's the worst, right? You test something harder, 4 willpower or 4 intellect. If you fail, you choose and discard 1 card from your hand for each point that you failed by. Bad, right? Just shredding your hand is bad in a card game. So there's not much to do about those other than passing the test. So these are in, I think, a couple scenarios. 3 of them. First one, Horror in High Gear, and then Into the Maelstrom. Okay. So the Pit of Despair is the one where you need to go through and get a bunch of memories. So that's something we'll be looking at, making sure we get the map in a particular configuration that makes it easy to move around, get away from enemies if we have to, and get all of the memories, because we really do want to spend our time getting a good start. I know it's like an hour and a half for every scenario to try to finish this up in 12 hours, but the first scenario is really important. Getting all the memories gives you extra XP and gives you some things unlocked later on. Okay, that is the first scenario, and there's the amalgam and whatnot, but I'm not going to talk about that so much. Okay, we looked at that already, so let's look at the Vanishing of Elena Harper. This is Clue. If you've played this one, you know it's Clue. I think this one's okay. It's as Derby Key says here, false lead, and the other one, which is the other one in Midnight Masks, where you have to take 2. Oh, Hunting Shadow. You take 2 damage if you have no clues. Well, that's just going to be the case for Zoe. What else we have here? We have the Agents of Dagon, which are these 2 cultists that are hard to kill unless they have Doom on them. So this one, there's 3 of them, empty locations as usual because it's a cultist, and harder to kill with no Doom, but it's kind of fine, 1 HP. This one is the harder one. The priest, when he would be defeated or evaded, if there's no Doom on him, you don't kill him. You put a Doom. So you can wait for him to get Doom, but then it's kind of like a pseudo Ancient Evils. Yeah. Okay. Clue. It's Clue. I don't have the map here to talk to you about, but you just have to sort of guess, right? The strategy, I think, when you look through the leads deck is you first try to look at the top card, and then you look at the top 2, then you look at the top 3, and then you just try to keep looking at the top 3 from then on. So you get as much information as you can as quickly as possible, and then you get locations with victory points. So the other part of this campaign is that you only get to spend victory or spend your XP after the first scenario, the second scenario, but then not after the third. So you're going into the 4th scenario with potentially like 8 or 9 or maybe 10 victory points, and that is very difficult. So getting anything, squeezing anything out of this scenario is pretty important. All right, In Too Deep is the third scenario. This is the one with the barriers. You are running through the town of Innsmouth like a snake, like that. A lot of enemies. There are some nasty token effects. We have a lot of the same encounter cards that we saw from before. Oh, I didn't think I talked about Rising Tide. Rising Tide is the one that increases the flood level of your location, or the nearest location that can have its flood level increased. I've never played Innsmouth in 4-player. This might get scary, right? We might get a lot of these. So I'm not looking forward to everything being flooded all the time. Maybe not so bad in this first scenario, but, or sorry, in this third scenario, but in the fourth one, I think it's, oh man, in the first one, I think it's tough. And Syzygy, we haven't seen or talked about before. This one is like an Ancient Evils, but you can choose not to do that. You take 2 horror or 3 resources. Everyone loses 3 resources. This one's Peril, so we kind of have to have an idea going in what makes the most sense at that point. So because we can't talk about it when we draw the card. My preference is to almost always take the 2 horror unless we're in trouble. I like resources. I don't like losing resources. 3 is a lot. And then the Doom you kind of never want. What's the other one? Oh, more increasing of the flood level. Okay. In Too Deep. This is another one where we talk about, like, we can't possibly get all the memories. This one has some places to get memories that are just really hard to do. There is a benefit for getting 5 of the keys, I think, in this one, and then 7. And I don't think we can do it. I don't think we have time to kind of go around and make sure we get every location. We have the open gates, which might be good until this point, or until after this point. But yeah, we'll see. Okay, the next one is Devil Reef, which actually open gate might be good here too. This is the fishing boat one. You move around from a scenario to scenario, island to island, looking for the places to spend your keys. And each of the 3 or 4, whatever, unfathomable depths, there's three, has a particular requirement, like spend the yellow key and the blue key, and then you get the black key. Problem is, you need to figure out where to find those other 2 keys. So you spend a lot of your time going around the map trying to figure out where you need to go first before you waste your time getting clues and whatnot. So we might split up into 2 just to 2 groups just to look for all the locations first. This is also the one where you might end up with 2 versions of the big. Any pictures of the big monster? No pictures of the big monster. Okay, there's the Terror of Devil Reef here, where if you unlock the right memory in the beginning, or that memory at all, in the first scenario, then you can kill this guy. If you don't, then you cannot kill this guy, and you have to just whack him for 6 damage every few turns. I think it's something like that. Otherwise, I believe it's 18 health to deal, to just remove the map. So we're going to try to do that. Okay. I'm going to try to keep this short. Let's move on to Horror and High Gear. This is the one that you are driving through to Falcon Point. That's the lighthouse in the next scenario. And there's not much you can do here other than just get the clues, fix the car, and stay away from all the enemies, which are very hard to hit. We got the hit van, we got the pursuing motor car. This one attacks everyone in the same vehicle. This is an okay scenario. It just sort of sucks because sometimes you have to guess what location to go to. And this card's very hard because the guys catch up. And if you didn't kill the terror from Devil Reef, then it shows up again here too and starts attacking you from behind. Kind of wild. But there's this decision about who gets to be the drivers. And the drivers sometimes have to do random tests from the encounter deck. There's 2 cars, 2 drivers. Okay. Yeah, so getting clues as soon as possible. You don't have time to like just put assets down is paramount here. Light the fog. This is scenario number 6. This is one of, I think, 2 opportunities to resign early. Just go in, grab some victory points, and then run out of the top of the lighthouse. We have the option to do that if we're running short on time. This scenario is kind of fun, so I'd rather not. I'd rather play the scenario. There's a few different fun mechanics in this one where you're running down into the depths of the lighthouse and through the tunnels, looking for the pump room, looking for where the moon suits are, and all kind of weird stuff in there. But it can end the campaign if you screw up. So we're going to try not to do that as well. So there's a possibility here to resign. Blair of Dagon. This is the one where I want to resign. I don't like this scenario. Maybe some people like it, but it has a lot of movement that you need to do to kill cultists that spawn in empty locations, and then you need to go run from one location to another. Honestly, like the problem with it is that there's no win condition, in my opinion. What you need to do at the very end is that you're in a fully flooded location with Dagon, and you have to spend your own clues and put them on the act, and you do this 12 times. The problem is Dagon wakes up if you fail, I think it's going to be 5 or 6 skill tests. And his location, like I said, is fully flooded, so you take 6 damage or whatever if you stay there. So you need to run in and out. You need to like go out of the room, get a clue, come back, and then do the test. So you're wasting so much time if you don't have movement tech, which we really don't have on this team. And for what? He's just going to wake up anyway in the last scenario, so who cares? Like, this is one where I would say play the first half. The first half of the scenario where you're investigating the Order of Dagon's hideout or whatever it is, and getting clues and dealing with the curse tokens. That's fine. Just do that part and then resign once you've had enough before you get to going to the depths again. The encounter sets are okay. It's just mostly adding a bunch of curse tokens. So I just don't want to waste my time with this scenario. We'll see. Okay, let's just talk about the last one then, which is Into the Maelstrom. I took a look at the map here for 4 players, and it is a big map. It looks really different than when I played with 2 players or 3. Which might make it a lot harder. Usually this is a very easy scenario for most people because it's a fairly big map and you just run around and you avoid Hydra and Dagon. But I think it's going to be a little trickier to move into certain locations because if I looked at the map correctly, there's a couple of holes in the map, so you have to go a certain direction. So you can't just do a Keystone Cops running around in circles from all the enemies. So otherwise, there's nothing really horrible in here other than this aquatic abomination. But honestly, not that bad, right? 7 HP at this point in the campaign. We better be able to deal with it. So yeah, that's Innsmouth. I'm looking forward to this. We're starting real soon and a little bit later today. And I'm ready. I've looked at all the encounter sets. I've sleeved my cards. I want to play, but 12 hours of Arkham in one day, your brain is likely to get a little bit fried, so we'll see how I do. And I'll give you a little bit of recap of what happened as well. Hopefully, once I'm back on my regular computer, I can do a regular stream on TTS so you can see the cards instead of me going from memory. But thank you to the Ancient Evils blog for at least having something to look at here. And if you haven't checked out this blog, if you want to read about the campaigns themselves, you can take a look at this article here that is the best laid plans. So it gives you a lot of spoilers, but says exactly about how much XP to expect and just kind of all the major themes of this campaign, how to plan your deck. And I ignored some of this stuff because I'm playing Zoe and not really a great idea, but I'm gonna have fun anyway. But yeah, how do you get all the flashbacks? They're all here, and I'm expecting to get all 3 here for scenario 1. So that's 1, 2, 3. I guess it's 4, and then probably this deal with Joe Sargent. Probably not all 5 keys. Probably not all 7 keys from In Too Deep, or the jailbreak. Maybe we can get the jailbreak. Maybe. And then 1, maybe 2 of these relics from Devil Reef. Okay, light in the fog. We can get this one. This is the white key from the lantern room. You just bring it back to the cliffside location. Gets rid of one of the bad symbol tokens. Maybe the life cycle of the deep one if you're lucky. Getting a couple of these keys at the end gives you some benefit for the beginning of Into the Maelstrom, so that's not bad. Stinging Betrayal, I've just never done it. I think you can do it if you have Teachings of the Order, which is from earlier, to unflood that last location where Dagon is. So you have to do this in order to get the special bonus acts at the end of Into the Maelstrom, but who cares? We're just trying to finish the campaign in 12 hours, not do as much as possible. So yeah, that finishing is winning is the way I look at it. It'll just be fun. It'll be fun. Anyway, like I said before, at the bottom, oh yeah, these guys. Yeah, I think Zoe will probably pick up Thomas Dawson, but he never actually goes in your deck. He just ends up being part of the scenario setup or part of your opening hand, I think. But these are the 2 stats that Zoe wants, and getting attacked is also what Zoe wants, so this will be a good part of the game plan. Experience points. Yeah, here's all of the XP we could get. I'm hoping to get 6. The 7 is impossible. We might get 2 or 3. In Too Deep, we might get some. Maybe like 5 or 6. A lot of XP in Devil Reef. Maybe we can get like maybe 10, maybe 8. And the rest of it honestly doesn't matter as much. We just want to get through without dying. So I don't actually have a maximum number of XP that I've planned on. I'm just going to upgrade the cards for the Zoe deck as they come. I want to get the Survival Knives first, probably the Beat Cops and Guard Dogs, the Charisma, and then we'll see. Okay, that's it for my preview. I will give you another update when I've finished Ironman, but once I'm back home. All right, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.